My feet so fat I can't get into my roller skates. And my neck and chest don't fit anymore. Look at this. It's a stick up. It don't work. I do this at a bank robbery, I look like a fool.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast. How you guys doing tonight? I am doing all right, winding down from work. A little late and gay, but we're here nonetheless. And I figured this time around for the show, in terms of like keeping ourselves sharp and up to date on what's happening in pop culture news, obviously the biggest thing that's spreading around is, of course, the Nintendo Switch 2 dropped. Nintendo switched on us. Huh. Says Komanga. Yes, indeed. So, I was thinking this time around, I found some articles, but since a lot of them is literally based on the Nintendo Switch, I figured we'll just go to like the sources I usually check out to like keep myself up to date about stuff. And if we find an article that's interesting, we'll check it out and read it. So, kind of going super off the cuff this time around. But normally, if you're new to the program, I do a show here called the Power Up Podcast, and it's a show that keeps itself, um, or I should say, keeps ourselves. It's a show dedicated to keeping ourselves up to date on what's happening in pop culture, keep our minds sharp, and hopefully rekindle that nostalgic spirit in terms of looking at what's good, what's bad, and what's ugly in the pop culture field and hopefully rekindle the nostalgic flame, which is dying due to woke infestation. But I think we're definitely seeing a pushback on that. But overall, just hopefully it just helps you guys and encourages you guys to remember that we can be entertained for entertainment's sake. It wasn't like this in the past. What can we do to go back to the past in terms of capturing that energy that just made it fun and exciting? And if it failed, it failed. And if it succeeded, it succeeded. And of course includes video games, movies, anime, manga, whatever you would like to put under the umbrella of entertainment. Manga says emulation, indeed. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Turn on notifications to get notified when I go live. 8 p.m. Central Time. Pretty much all weeknights. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays being gaming, and Tuesdays and Thursdays being the show, and then over the weekend, like in the afternoon, same time, 8 p.m. Central Time. That would be 9 Eastern Time, I believe. What's up, Brian? Oh, yeah, I'm actually here early tonight. Hey, don't sweat it, brother. I appreciate you coming, whether you're, early, middle of the show, end of the show. It's the thought that counts, and I appreciate it. And of course, in the end, just helping boost the channel by pushing that algorithm. It's all that I would ask for. And yeah, hop into it, shall we? So, like I said, got my tabs open of just like the websites I usually go check out. Those those include I check out Niche Gamer, Tech for Gamer, Video Game Chronicle, Bounding into Comics, That Park Place, all that sort of jazz. I try to find at least neutral, sources, but every source is biased in one way, shape, and form. But whatever. All right, so we got Niche Gamer here. Will give us the information about the Nintendo Switch 2 release date and price announcement. I did not watch the Nintendo Direct or the Treehouse. I've just been busy. I usually don't watch that stuff anyway, but I might maybe get more information and look at it later. But I will take what people say with a grain of salt, and I'll check. If I really need to check it out to make sure I'm accurate, I will. Which anybody should really. Anywho, so they announced a release date for Nintendo Switch 2 console, and yes, it is the Nintendo Switch 2. kind of disappointed. I really wish they would have gone something that would tie in the retro and the current concept of Nintendo. A lot of people said it would have been sweet to see it be called the Nintendo Super Switch, kind of like Nintendo and then Super Nintendo. I think that would have been pretty clever and unique. But yeah, it is what it is. And I can understand why, since the Nintendo Switch has been like their hottest selling point of almost all time. So, of course, they're going to want to keep up with it for people to associate Switch with the two. So, it is set to launch June 5th with a suggested retail price of $449.99 in the US. That would be 49,980 yen, Japanese region locked, or 469.99 in Europe, 69,980 yen, Japan region free. Pre-orders launch on April 9th via participating retailers. So it's the next big step in an at-home gaming that can be taken on the go based on 8 years of play and discovery that began with Nintendo Switch, said President Shuntaro Furukawa. With its new feature that expand the possibility of gaming experiences, I truly believe that the Nintendo Switch 2 is a leap forward in our journey of putting smiles on the faces of everyone that Nintendo touches. We got a list of the rundown here. Joy-Con 2 controllers, each of which can now be used as a mouse in compatible games, and that snap to the system with magnetic connectors. Experience the system's powerful processing speeds, delivering visuals via bigger screen, showcasing vibrant color and clarity. From Nintendo Switch 2 games to compatible games in existing Nintendo Switch libraries, connect and play with friends and family in surprisingly new ways. Nintendo Switch 2 comes with the following: your Switch 2 console, Joy-Con 2 controllers, left and right, Joy-Con 2 grip, Joy-Con 2 straps, Nintendo Switch 2 dock, ultra high-speed HDMI cable, the Nintendo Switch 2 AC adapter, and the USB-C charging cable. Thanks, Dub Stuff, for subscribing. Race into the Nintendo Switch 2 with the bundle with Mario Kart for a suggested retail price of $49.99 in the United States, which includes a system and a download code for the Mario Kart World game available from Nintendo Switch 2 launch day and June 5. All right, so already the biggest thing that a lot of people are really bashing Nintendo about is, of course, the pricing, and I do agree on the price setting. I understand that inflation is a thing. I don't think it affects it that much per se. I definitely am not going to fall for the tariff situation. A lot of people are going to try to use the tariff thing. And I mean, I'm not familiar with tariff, but from what I've read, tariff is one of those things where, again, it's not to say it 100% doesn't play a part, but I don't think it plays a part in what a lot of people claim it to be. A lot of people want to tell you that, like, with tariffs, it's, 50%, blah, 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 when really it's like 10%. But again, I haven't looked too much into, how tariffs work and stuff like that. So I'm by no means anybody you should be listening to, but I don't believe in that garbage in terms of it being as extreme as what they make it out to be. Now, this right here for $500 for a Nintendo Switch and just a download code of Mario Kart World game and not a physical, I think that's bullshit. I want an actual physical copy. Let's see, because I think I got my Switch with the Mario Kart. I mean, that might have been downloadable, but I waited a good while till I got mine, and I got it on Black Friday. So, because I'm out to get the best deal possible. In the Ask of a Developer article for Nintendo, they considered the Super Switch, but thought people would think it wasn't backwards compatible like the Super Nintendo. That's a terrible reason, says Brian. Not what you're saying, but Nintendo's reasoning to not call it the Super Switch because people would think it wasn't backwards compatible like the Super Nintendo. But no one, No one is that retarded. That's a funny. That's very, very interesting because the thing with the whole pricing that's going on with Nintendo is they are counting on two things. One, they're counting on parents just to not hear the complaining of their kids and just get it anyway. That's what they're hoping for. And number two, they're hoping that they know that people who are Nintendo fanboys are going to buy this regardless what the price tag is. They're going to do it. That's what they're banking on. And that to me is absolutely stupid on Nintendo's part. And I think will possibly shoot them in the foot because a conscious parent who is trying to be financially responsible, hopefully doesn't just plop their kids in front of a TV and just to get them out of their hair, like actually be a parent and engage with your kids. I know you can get tiresome, and and of course, who am I to say this? But you know, whatever. You can still develop your kid without having them being glued to a tablet or a TV or a video game. A parent's going to go into the store and they're going to go, "Hey, my kid is asking for this game." And they're going to go they're going to go, "Oh, for the Nintendo Switch or the Switch 2?" Well, what's the difference? Cuz they're boomers, right? And so, the retail person is obviously going to try to make a sale. So they're going to try to push to sell the newest thing. Oh, well, if you get the Nintendo Switch 2, and they're going to throw all these deals at them, but I do think that the normal person who's going to go, how much is the Nintendo Switch? Oh, now it's, we'll just say $300. Could be even less. And they're going to go, okay, how much is the Switch 2? Oh yeah, like 500 if you want to get the Mario Kart bundle. 450 if you don't. And like what's this game on? Is it on both consoles? Oh yeah, it's on both. Oh yeah, give me the cheaper one. That's what's going to happen. I think we're at this point where people are going to start realizing on how much insanity is being put into the price of games. And it's unfortunately gotten to this point. And I was kind of pondering this with myself the other day. I was going, when did the AAA titles and the video game developers and the studios and all that, when did they think that what the gamers are asking for are these very glorious, realistic video games where, hey, if we get this actor that and we can mocap him, maybe we could actually put him in the game. Like, I legitimately want to know where they got this idea that that's what people were asking for, because I sure as hell wasn't asking for it. If you want to spend money and have mocap frickin' Norman Reedus, by all means, fine. I wouldn't care if Norman Reedus was in Death Stranding or the PT trailer. Because no one was asking for, what this video game needs is an actor. And maybe it all started when that Call of Duty that had Kevin Spacey in it. I don't know, but this is where all the slop that gets inserted into the video games that doesn't need to be there. You don't need to have a bunch of mo capturing. Nothing. It doesn't need to be super high realistic quality to make me question if this is real life. This is why people are going back to the retro. This is why people are still playing the old games. And of course, I've seen a lot of people on X trying to pull the whole, they're posting old pictures of it was this price back in the day. It's well, back in the day, people could actually either afford that or they just didn't want to buy it. And the big thing of why people were fine buying games back in the day at that price, because there was a lot of good, solid games back in the day. Games nowadays suck. The modern games suck. And these people have the gall to now demand that, hey, you want to get this game? You got to pay us $100. Fuck you. No, I'll just go and get the old games. Fuck, I'll emulate that shit. Like, fuck it. This is why I'm still kind of annoyed with Nintendo since they went after Emu Paradise. Because it goes to show, like, hey, that's our property. We're going to sue you. We're going to make an example of all these people that you don't pirate our stuff. Well, what if we're asking for those old games? Well, we don't want to put them out. Well, you're retarded then, because there would be people who would buy money. And then when they do, like with the eShop back in the day and stuff, the ports suck, or it's not a one-to-one accuracy. In fact, a lot of it almost seems like emulation, but it's just that Nintendo stamp of approval that makes it, oh, this is okay. Dude, the minute I saw them talk about the virtual cartridge, I was like, what's the difference between this and a ROM? They are really, Nintendo is literally trying to really push the digital aspect only. Be wary. And this might be something to where we need to show the gaming company that we want physical media and we want good games. Obviously, that's the big one. We want good games. We don't want slop. All right. That was a little bit of a rant. Let's go. So game chat enables a new way to play socially all together. So game chat, with the new online feature game chat, people can play games and talk like everyone in the same room, even if they are miles apart. That's nothing new. Like, way to get on board with that. That's been established. Like in-game lobbies. Or like what Xbox 360 did back in the day, a party invite. So, woohoo! Good job on that one. It took you a while, but you got there. Whether sharing a victory or just waving hello game chat makes it feel like online friends around the world are on the same couch. Okay. Once game chat is up, players can start a chat with friends anytime by pressing the C button on the right Joy-Con 2 controller. The system's built-in mic can be used to voice chat while playing games with up to 12 people in different locations. Up to 4 friends can share their screen. And if they connect a compatible USB-C camera, such as the Nintendo Switch 2 camera, sold separately, of course, they can also video chat, seeing each other's faces as I share. I personally, I don't play with randos a lot of time because I mostly play single player games. And number 2, I don't really feel like showing my face if I'm casual gaming. Like, if I'm not doing this, like streaming and whatnot, I don't care. Don't have a problem showing my face. Although sometimes I wish I should have done I should have just had an avatar or something like that. That would have been the smart thing to do. But I mean, I started this pretty well back in the day, so like, too late now, I guess. Or I could just go away for like 2 years and then come back and no one may not know. Anyway, they can also video chat, see each other's faces as they cheer, shout, or laugh while playing, or giving you the finger, yelling at you, calling you fag, and all that stuff. Additionally, friends can join the chat via audio only. Until the end of March 2026, game chat can be used without the need to have a Nintendo Switch Online membership. Afterwards, a Nintendo Switch Online membership will be. There you go. There you go. There it is. That's what they want That's what they want it to be. So you could literally have the Nintendo Switch for a year, and then it becomes worthless until you can Nintendo Switch 2 until you get that online membership fee. One of the new main features, and you can't use it after a year because, hey, I don't really feel like playing an online. I don't feel like playing for online membership. Like my PS4, my Xbox One, my Nintendo Switch, I don't have any of the online stuff. I canceled those a while back because I have no need to go online anymore. Again, I don't play like Dragon Ball Z online fighting or whatever fighter you want to say. Sparking Zero, like I'm not playing against people online. One is because I know I'll get my butt kicked. Two, I'm not going to spend time practicing just to then go online and play. Like, I have other stuff to be doing. Well, initiating a game chat season, the user invites people from their friends list. Safety features are in place to help players have a safe and secure chat experience. It's not Nintendo, it's not your responsibility for that. What safety features? Tell me. Such as the ability to report a player while in a chat session. Any other chat feature has that. Like, that's nothing new. In addition, Nintendo recognizes the important role parents and guardians play in their children's online experiences. So children under the age of 16 will need their parent or guardian to approve their use of game chat with an updated version on the Nintendo Switch parental controls app. This is the funny thing about that too, is I do not believe for a second a lot of parents like go out of their way to program the parental controls. I don't. I really don't think that. A lot of parents, and this is what Nintendo's banking at. They are hoping that the parents will literally just get the system to shut their kids up. Manga says wants us Nintendo doesn't want us to own games. They're evil. I don't really have anyone to play with online. I have friends over for couch co-op. Exactly. The only people I will play online is with like my friends who literally are not like in the vicinity of my area. Like, that is the only time I do it. And guess what? A lot of my friends and stuff, they have families now. They have kids they got to take care of. They don't have time to do that stuff. And so we can get a multitude of new features. So you got your large vivid screen, built-in LCD, display in full HD 1080. Okay, whatever. Joy-Con 2 controls, snap feature. Okay, we already know about that. It can also be a mouse, a new freely adjustable stand, and the new USB-C port. I mean, that's pretty cool. Nintendo Switch 2 has a port on the top of the system as well, which makes it possible for players to use the included AC adapter to charge the system while playing in tablet mode or tabletop mode. Excuse me. Apparently, there's a tabletop mode. Also possible to connect a compatible USB-C camera like a Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Okay, powerful processing speed and graphical performance. Probably something that's like mid, because Nintendo's usually behind the game, I feel like, when it comes to this. Crisp audio quality and spatial 3D sound. Well, gotta have good sound, I got. Internal storage of 256. I'm gonna guess that you cannot upgrade it. Where digital games and save data are stored, which is 8 times the storage capacity of the Nintendo Switch. For additional storage, Nintendo Switch 2 only uses micro SD express cards, which have faster data reading speed than the previous micro SD card. No, so it sounds like you can't upgrade it, but it's probably going to be some unique special card that, of course, you have to get from Nintendo only. Nintendo Switch games are also playable on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I've heard some stuff about this. I heard that this technically isn't true in terms of like kind of what the new Nintendo Switch games are doing, to where now the data is that you're literally downloading a code that then installs on your system that has the full game. So again, they're giving you the false illusion that you own the game, but the data inside the game isn't the data of the game. It's a code that then goes online and gives you a digital version. That's what I was kind of reading about. We may find an article that maybe covers that a little bit more. Can play compatible physical and digital games released on the Nintendo Switch. Some Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2. Joy-Con controllers and peripherals such as the Nintendo Switch Pro controller will also be usable on the Switch 2 by connecting them wirelessly to the system. For more information, blah, 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 blah. Got the new Nintendo Switch 2 dock, which you could connecting to a TV. You can use an output video up to 4K resolution, play games at 120 frames per second via compatible games. And wasn't this something that like people were griping about? Like, I thought I saw someone else talk about like kind of shitting on Nintendo about this too, because again, it's like, oh, you're finally now doing that. Yeah, it took you a while, sort of thing. Multiple people can play one title with Game Share. Game Share Nintendo Switch 2 features players can share and play the same game with others who do not have the game. If one person has a Nintendo Switch 2 system and a game compatible with Game Share, that person can invite others to temporarily play the same game via local player with their Nintendo Switch 2 or Nintendo Switch 2 system. It can also be used along with Game Chat for online playing so that the player can chat with others while all of them play the same game. So again, you got to have the online membership to do that. Otherwise, you're screwed. After the year here, virtual game cards adds benefits to digital games. So with virtual game cards, players can easily manage all their purchased digital games, play games on 2 different systems, or even lend or borrow games. The virtual game card menu shows all the digital games purchased with the Nintendo account, makes it easy to access the games and load them on the system. Once it's been loaded on the system, it can be played even if the system is not connected to the internet, and other users who are on that system can also play. Additionally, digital games can be lent and borrowed among members of the same Nintendo account family group in the form of virtual game cards via local wireless. And the online will be available for the Switch. Accessibility features, adjust font size, enable screen reading, okay, safety and secure, whatever. Game key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain the full. Right here. Nintendo Switch 2 game cards and game key cards. Game key cards are different from regular game cards because they don't contain the full game data. Instead, the game key card is your key to downloading the full game to your system via the internet. After it's downloaded, you can play the game by inserting the game key card into your system, starting up like a standard physical game card. Why? Why? Just give me the physical copy. Is this why they're going to start charging physical copies to be retarded expensive and the game key card's probably going to be cheaper? It's because they want you, again, to go more digital. No, thank you. All right, well, good job, Niche Gamer. I feel like you had a good chunk of information. Brian says they call it the game key card, I think. Yeah, I think I missed that chat, but yeah, we just got to it. Okay, well, there you go. So this was an article I saw here. Nintendo Switch 2 games to start at $80, and physical copies will cost even more. Yeah, because I saw people were talking about it being $90, but it's. Well, this comes from Tech for Gamer. Following the latest direct, Nintendo Switch 2 has received a plethora of new details: $449 price tag, 120 FPS support. Games like Cyberpunk 2027 or 2077, excuse me, and more have also been revealed on the console, creating excitement within the fandom. However, not every piece of information has been positive. Nintendo confirmed a new pricing standard for its titles, while Mario Kart World will be the gaming giant's first $80 launch game. The first $80. Well, I guess it's the launch title. I was gonna say the first 80. I was thinking the first $80 like of Nintendo games, but it's like, well, you saw those how much they cost in the past. Back in the day, it was like 70, like 60, 70 or something. The only recently adopted $70 games, a move to prove to be controversial. The gaming giant appears to be on track to set a new trend. So, as per the game's official store, Mario Kart World starts at a $79.99 MSRP. However, even more surprising is the cost of the physical version. Although fans might find $80 already too expensive, it is. This price is limited to the digital copy. Those looking to buy the physical version must spend a whopping $90. That is retarded. Although Nintendo has yet to say much about the pricing, fans can expect similar pricing for the rest of the gaming giant's Switch 2 offerings. Could also encourage the industry to move closer to the rumored 100 pricing standards. Nothing else, Nintendo's new pricing will most likely encourage studios like Rockstar Games to pursue more expensive title. I'm really hoping that if this is the case, by all means, go ahead and make those titles. I'm not going to buy it. I'll wait till it's on sale. Be prepared for piracy to go up there, Nintendo, and all that stuff. Manga says not just retarded, but gay. Yes, indeed. Nintendo, I would like to say that your prices are very much
Gay.
The Nintendo Switch 2 may also receive backlash over this announcement, so it will be interesting to see what the future holds for the industry. If the latest Nintendo Direct has made anything clear, it's that this hobby will only become more expensive moving forward. Yep. And the retro bubble, like, I'm interested to see how that goes. That could Nintendo doing this could potentially increase the retro bubble, which a lot of people think it'll never pop. I think it 100% will. But I think Nintendo is really screwing the pooch in terms of this. I can also see that people are going to just go out and buy this anyway, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so far not convinced of getting the Switch 2 anytime soon. There's methods out there. I'm apparently very thirsty. So, Video Game Chronicle here actually had got some Q&A with Nintendo about the Switch 2. So, I'm actually curious here to see what questions they were. I'm hoping one of the questions are, yeah, why this retarded pricing? Maybe not worded exactly like that. That's probably what I would have said. Excuse me, Nintendo, what is your thoughts on making this gay ass move to increase the pricing of games? Today, we asked Nintendo some of the most pressing questions that still remain unknown about Switch 2. So, during a Switch 2 preview event in Paris, when was this article, by the way? Oh, it actually is today. So, here you go. Actually, it was released 8:15 p.m. So, here you guys go. Or the most recent questions asked, I guess you could say. So, we were able to ask a series of questions directly to Nintendo about the Switch 2 hardware and software. No, we don't want that. We want to know about the pricing. Well, some of its answers were non committal, usually because Nintendo chooses not to announce certain things until specific moments leading up to launch. The opportunity was nevertheless still useful in determining which question the company is willing/able to answer at this stage. So, the answers provided by a Nintendo spokesperson are as follows. Here we go. Does Nintendo expect there to be enough supply of the Switch 2 hardware for launch? Although we cannot provide detailed information, we are striving to ensure that we can supply our product to those who want them. Has Nintendo taken measures to protect from Joy-Con stick drift? The control sticks for Joy-Con 2 controllers have been redesigned and have improved in areas such as durability. How much will the Switch 2 edition upgrades cost in Europe? We are not announcing that info at the moment. Why are some games priced more than others, such as Mario Kart World? The final price is determined by resellers or retailers. My Nintendo Switch store prices, we determine on a case-by-case basis. Boo! Answer the question. How is the final price determined by retailers? Like, I'm probably retarded in this aspect of business. But like, I'm sure when Nintendo releases games and stuff, they have to tell people like, "Hey, we're asking like, here's our product. We want this to be this price." Final price. Okay, I need to look this up. I'm trying to wrap my head around because this makes it sound like it's like, well, we didn't make the price $90 or something. It's like that's the impression I'm getting. Here, let's ask Grok here. How do retailers determine the pricing of video? Okay, they determine the pricing of video games through a combination of factors that balance production cost, market demand, competition, and consumer behavior. Here's a breakdown. Base cost, publisher set an initial base cost. Yeah. Initial base cost. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted to know. It's like they have to like tell them like this is the like a base cost. Okay, so it is the base cost. Base cost, market demand, competition, timing and life cycle, consumer perception. Yeah, so Nintendo can still be like our base cost is $90. And it's like, well, that seems gay. Anyway, why are some I already read that. Is Nintendo considering a region-locked console outside of Japan? We have nothing to announce on this topic. Will third-party developers be able to make Switch 2 edition of games or free upgrades or both? Please talk to the developers about their plan. Does a Switch 2 edition have to be paid or can a developer release a Switch 2 edition quality upgrade for free? Please talk to publishers about their plans. Will there be more customization options this time or achievements? We have nothing to announce on this topic. Wow. These questions suck. The questions suck and the response suck. I'd have to say the funniest one is literally the game price ones. Well, the final price is determined by retail. But we set that, but we're the ones that set that base price at 90. It didn't answer the question of why are some games priced more than others. We determine on a case-by-case basis. Well, this game's gonna suck. $30. Oh, we put a lot of money into this game. 90. That was pretty interesting. Oh, this was one of the games I actually liked Hyrule Warriors, so I caught my eye. This is back on Niche Gamer. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment announced. A new entry in their Warriors spin-off in the Zelda franchise. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is in development for Nintendo Switch 2 and will launch sometime this winter. Here's a blurb. Also a trailer. The blurb talks about that the game features epic battles against hordes of enemies as it tells the untold story from Hyrule's distant past of the imprisoning war that ultimately led to the events of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't played Tears yet. Fans of the Legend of Zelda series and players of both The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, that one I have played, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom can experience the thrill of battle in this canonical tale featuring Zelda, King Rauru, and other familiar characters. Well, okay. I was wondering if there was going to be like, different versions like from the past and stuff. Still interested though. I liked Hyrule. I liked the first Hyrule Warriors. That was really fun. I guess I had other articles, so maybe we may not just be skimming through a bunch of articles here, but we'll see. This caught my eye. This is bounding into comics. So the Netflix Devil May Cry producer says animated series takes cues from Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. He didn't make any wild changes or anything, but he's setting it in the real world. Bullshit, he didn't make any wild changes. He already made the wild change by literally having the voice of Nero be the voice of young Dante. And he's admitted that he had Johnny Young Bosch in mind when he wanted to do. Plus, the animations suck ass. I'm getting tired of Western animations deciding that, yeah, let's run it at 20 frames per second with inconsistent, like, stutters at times, it feels. Just looks absolutely terrible. Like, I don't get this. This just feels so lifeless. That doesn't either. So according to producer Adi Sankar, just an FYI, he was the person responsible for getting Apu canceled from Simpsons. So just wanted to throw that out there. That's the guy who's handling your Devil May Cry series. And it's the guy who also handled Castlevania, which a lot of people said season 2 sucked. I saw season 1, I thought it was okay, but so Netflix's upcoming animated take on Devil May Cry takes heavy inspiration by Christopher Nolan's famous cinematic Batman trilogy. More hot Netflix garbage. Yep. Trilogy, particularly how its portrayal of Dante and his demon-infested world does not go wild with its changes. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. And will I see it? Probably not. Will I hear about it? Yes. Sankar, who readers may recognize as the producer of several Netflix video game adaptations, include Castlevania, Castlevania Nocturne, and Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix, never heard of it, provided this insight into his next project while speaking with Games Radar in promotion of its fast approaching release date. Pressed by the outlet as to what he hoped fans, both new ones coming in with the series and those who have rocked with Dante since his debut in the original Devil May Cry, would get out of the animated experience. The producer asserted the same thing for both unity, harmony. X to doubt on that. You know, it's really just an understanding that we are, as adults, attempting to reclaim what it is that we lost as children, Shankar explained. Well, making it progressive isn't the way that isn't the way to go there, bucko. And realize that we're all doing that. All, whatever billion of us on this planet, we're all doing that. We're all attempting to regain what we lost as children. And some of us are more conscious of it than others. Here's the thing, though, is that people like you, Adi, ruin that. You're claiming to attempt to reclaim whatever it is we lost as children. Here's the thing: is the woke hive mind says that stuff isn't progressive. That's the ultimate irony of it. Is he's claiming that he's trying to do this, but progressivism doesn't remotely belong in here at all. So this is, to me, this is like a mission failure. Or what is it in Metal Gear Solid 2? Mission failure. Or like it's a lost cause. Don't believe this for a second. People already started pointing out the fact that the guy, I forget, the bunny character. I'm not super up to date with my Devil May Cry lore, but I have played 1 through 5. That he got called out for going, yeah, you're trying to make us sympathize with the demons. Oh, no, I'm not. But this is something that should bring us together as a species yet. No one talks like this. Anybody who talks like this, like, are weirdos. I'm sorry. It's so weird. And trust me, like, I get some crazy comments, like, on my shows, like when Gary's on or talking about scripture and stuff. Like, you get the weirdos that have this impression that they've unlocked the secret, and so they type these long spiels of nothing, ramblings of a madman, probably actually possessed or whatever, but they like talk in like all caps, or they're like saying stuff to where they just assume you know what you're talking about, and you're like, I have no, like, this has nothing to do with the conversation. This is like the same vibe I'm getting. He added, like, we're all going through the same thing. I mean, then yes, the world is going through sin. It's just, treat each other with kindness, because the villain of your story is the hero of their own story. Did I not just say, like, no less than 5 minutes ago that people were calling him out because it seemed like he was trying to make it that we need to be sympathetic towards the demons? This line isn't helping that, by the way. So, to this thematic end, Shankar then noted that this attempt at frank realism was inspired by none other than the aforementioned Nolan handling of the Cape Crusader. The show was inspired by Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy because it's Batman. It's the Batman you know. He didn't like make any wild changes or anything, he asserted. Okay, this is already wrong to begin with because there are so many different versions of Batman. You've got your Adam West Batman, you've got your comics Batman, you've got the animated series Batman. Yeah, they may have all similar like topics and maybe possible origin stories and stuff, but to go out and say, yeah, it's the Batman from back in the day is the same Batman now. No, absolutely not. They're different. Sounds like they're trolls. You mean this guy? I don't know. Okay, he asserted, but he's setting it in the real world, right? It's not in this like Tim Burton world. It's not in this Joe Schumacher world. It's not in a cartoon world. It's the real world. Hey, guess what? A lot of people are tired of the real world aspect of stuff. Hate to say it. I tip my hat to Nolan because he did a good job doing that. 1 was good, 2 was amazing, 3 was okay. A lot of people will probably say the Tim Burton version is still the best one because it actually I say the Tim Burton one is probably closer to the line of a weird blending of have it being set in the real world but yet having that comic feel to it. Anyway, as to why he chose to set the series in a real world, Shankar further explained the reason for that actually is the DMC franchise. At its core is the characters are all rooted in tragedy, their backstories are. So I think moving into the real world allowed that tragedy to become even more relatable and even more grounded in reality and grounding in psychological realism. The concept of Devil May Cry is you're literally going around slaying demons. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, scripture clearly talks about demons, although demons can't manifest into the actual physical world. So, technically, it'd be you'd be fighting your Raphaim hybrid fallen angel sort of thing, but that's a different topic. But like, it's I don't get this. I don't get this concept. I want to bring this into the real world. Well, what's the story taken about? Oh, this guy can, he's a devil. He goes around slaying devils. He's, you know, beyond superhuman. All these all these crazy monsters come out, all that stuff. But it's real. I'm having a hard time conveying what I'm saying, but it can definitely be based on definitely on scriptural sort of stuff that actually does take place. But like the realness he's talking about, it's like moving into the real world allows the tragedy to become even more relatable. What? You can easily do that with it not being set in the real world. Like, what are you talking about? If done right, my biggest question is why is this a prequel? Out of all the things you could add on to the Devil May Cry series, you instead go back to you instead go to a prequel. Almost like you can change what made Devil May Cry and make it into your own bastardized version of whatever you want. Almost like what a lot of current series, Star Wars is doing, all that stuff. So unfortunately from Shankar, from what fans have seen of the character's animated incarnation thus far, this attempt to, quote, translate a source material accurate Dante into a more heavy grounded setting is shaping up to be less Nolan's Batman's and more Paramount's Halo. Thank you. Manga, he's trying to make the demons victims. A lot of people are claiming that that's what's giving off in like a snippet of some rabbit guy talking to it. For the record, I have not read the manga or seen the original like anime Devil May Cry. So this could be stuff from there that I'm not familiar with. But a lot of people were claiming that that's what it seemed to be getting the point across. That you should feel sorry for him. Kind of like, I guess, what people were saying of what they did with the Castlevania series, to where literally you're fighting Dracula, literally you're a Christian, you have holy powers, but yeah, you need to feel sorry for Dracula. You need to feel sorry for a devil. Brian says, bingo, got to bring it up for modern audience. Yep. For the best example of this discrepancy, look no further than the difference in the Son of Sparta's own characterization between the game and the animated series. In the former, as seen in the opening to Devil May Cry 3, while Dante is shown to be somewhat laid back, aloof, and even jovial in his approach to killing demons, his attitude is the result of him being truly aware of the absolute gravity that Sparta's potential return brings with the game. As such, while he amuses himself by treating many of his fights like a big game, he's always ready to lock in at a moment's notice. Very well put, bounding into comics. However, the same could not be said of the animated Dante. In the below clip, after gunning down a group of demons in pursuit of a civilian woman, the half-demon hero realizes that he has no follow-up one-liner and thus takes a beat to workshop his post-fight one-liner with his recent rescue. Eventually, he settles on a reference to real-world pop culture, proceeding to taunt his recent Skullface skills. Man, Skeletor did not hold up since the 80s, for ultimately admitting that the joke was not his best work. Dude, I heard that line and it was like the cringiest thing ever. Like, these people claim that they love, like, literally up here, he claims that I'm trying to take what we've lost as children. Really? Then how come you can't write dialogue like back in the day that you're claiming that you're trying to be back? That was the most cringiest fucking line I've ever heard. Oh my gosh. Comparing the two, the Dante in the game is cool, calm, and collected individual who uses humor to both enrage his enemies and keep himself entertained, and to a certain extent calm, while slicing through countless seemingly unending waves of enemies. On the other hand, animated Dante is, simply put, a tryhard. Rather than any amount of authenticity, this version comes off as doing everything explicitly for the attention. His white-haired head seemed obsessed with the fear that someone might not properly praise him if he doesn't perform in a certain way. All in all, leave it to Shankar to once again misunderstand the basic tenets of the media he claims to be so heavily invested in adapting. For those still interested, it's streaming this Thursday, April 3rd, literally today. Oh no. Very solid article, by the way. This was going to be awful either way, but to put DMC in the real world shows how little this guy understands the series. Plus, the characters aren't themselves, but that comes from with the Netflix logo. See, this guy knows what I was trying to say. I mean, granted, he wasn't listening to me saying this right now, but he was expressing what I thought of too about the whole, I'm trying to put this in the real world. I had a sliver of hope going blindly in. Then I read producers' former work being Nocturne and Laserhawk. Nope. Here we go. Like, we're all going through the same thing. It's just, treat each other with kindness. Because the villain of your story is the hero of their own story. So, in other words, we can expect more misunderstood, complex villains in a meaningless narrative with no payoff yet again. He also seems to be anticipating fan backlash. There, boom, right there. Goblin Toad. Good job. Good comment. That, exactly. Thank you. I kind of been debating if I should start like hate watching, hate playing thing and then rifting on it. I don't want to like give it money or anything like that, so I'd have to figure out a way to do it. I think that'd be pretty fun. Some people do that already. There you go. The U.S. trade group, the ESA, says Trump tariffs will, quote, have a real and detrimental impact on the video game industry. So this caught my eye, too. This comes from Video Game Chronicle as well. Oh, we're already close to an hour. Dang. Well, I guess I had enough articles to go about. So I guess never mind about kind of what I was thinking I would have to do. So let's hear it. Chris Scullion, let's hear what he has to talk about because he's such a tariff expert, to use their own lingo against them. Products will likely be subject to many of the tariffs announced, an ESA executive said. Enlighten me, please. U.S. video game trade group, the Entertainment Software Association, has warned that the trade tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump are going to have a real and detrimental impact on the game. Why they gotta set it up to $90 when instead you could save a lot of money by just firing all your consultancy agencies, specifically the DEI ones. Don't need to rely on motion cap. Don't need to rely on famous actors. Just get rid of or I forget what it was. I think it was something like, if you guys watched the full 2 hours of the Assassin's Creed Shadows credit, someone pointed out, like, what the hell is this title? Like, this person, not advertisers, but like hypers, people who, like, all they did was go, hey, hope you guys are ready to play this game. Like, their names are in the credit. It's like, dude, you didn't do anything. You didn't work on it. Get out. All right. Trump has been imposing tariffs on numerous countries in recent weeks, including a sizable tariff on China, where tech products are often manufactured. On Wednesday, he also introduced a blanket 10% tariff on all imports, with countries like China, Vietnam, and Japan, which Trump calls among the worst offenders, getting larger tariffs of 54%, 46%, and 24%, respectively. In a discussion with Stephen Codillo for his GameFile newsletter, ESA Senior Vice President Aubrey Quinn said that game hardware, including console, could take a big hit as a result of these tariffs, given that some of them often have parts sourced from multiple countries. I.e., if only we could just do it to where somehow it could just be like here, as opposed to having to go across the country to do something. If only. An insane concept, I know, but I don't know. I'm a homo. So in a discussion, I already got that. Any one product that a consumer would buy is likely to be subject to many of the tariffs announced, all compounded on top of one another, Quinn explained. Quinn also suggested that the situation could worsen given the possibility that countries affected by the tariffs may respond by imposing tariffs on their own on the U.S., warning, I think what we heard yesterday is not the end of the story, not for the United States, not for other countries. When asked whether the ESA should consider Trump's suggestions that more goods should be made in the U.S., hey, look what I just said. And by the way, I don't like pre-screen any of this. I just look at what sounds interesting, clickbait or not, and go with it. Quinn replied that such widespread changes to the manufacturing process can't be made instantly and shouldn't necessarily be made on a whim. I think every company, every industry, the video game industry included, needs to think about what's best for consumers. Well, I mean, for video game company wise, you guys sure as hell aren't thinking about what's best for the consumers. You're thinking about what's best for a niche of people who are activists, tourists, or don't even like the franchise in the first place, i.e., video games. Or it's all just one big circle jerk for you guys. That's what you guys think about. That's what modern gaming is nowadays. With, yes, I can say it, with Nintendo maybe being the ones that does the best in giving people good products. But that's stretching it a little bit for me. She said, supply chains are complicated and certainly supply chains don't change overnight. Everything that is considered or decided can be a quick turnaround and can't be a knee-jerk reaction to any particular announcement. Earlier today, a report by the Financial Times suggested the Switch 2's U.S. price of $450 could have been affected by Trump's trade tariff, with Nintendo possibly deciding on its price with the impact of potential tariffs in mind. Japanese video game analyst and founder of Catan Games, Shirkan Todo, told the publication that he believed the Switch 2 price took Trump's recent behavior into account, saying the price suggested Nintendo was building a buffer in case tariffs hit supply chains harder than expected. All this is speculation. Did it happen or not? Here's another article here. What do we got here? Oh, Tech for Gamers talked about, like, this could be the norm. So, had that here. Well, I guess we're climbing up here, so let's go ahead and read this. We'll read that other one here, and then we'll wind down for tonight. I guess we talked about Nintendo Switch. I honestly thought we would be zipping through this fairly quickly, but I guess because I had a lot to say or rant about or ramble on like a madman. Any of those three. So Nintendo Switch's whose 450 price tag likely influenced by tariffs, experts say. I hope you list those tariffs because so far I've only been hearing, well, it could be, or yeah, possible. See, all this is about like like I'm hearing a lot of it's gonna, in the future sort of thing. It's like, well, what's happening right now? So the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 could have been affected by US President Donald Trump's trade tariffs, expert analysts or analysis claims. Considered at the higher end of what was realistically expected, and analysts suggest 450. Oh, dude, would not have been surprised if it was like 500, 600. Like, you're joking, right? Give me a break. Not to say that it's still not ridiculously high or anything like that. An analyst suggests Nintendo's decision may have been in anticipation by an impact by any tariffs imposed by Trump. Trump has been imposing tariffs on numerous countries. Excuse me. I guess I'm not that interested in tariffs. I'm yawning over here. Or I'm just mentally exhausted like I always am. Trump has been imposing tariffs on numerous countries in recent weeks, including a sizable tariff on China, where tech products are often manufactured. Wednesday, he also introduced a blanket 10% tariffs on all imports. Countries like China and Japan, calling them the worst offenders. We've already read that in the past article. I hope you're not just padding. Getting larger tariffs of 54%, 24%, respectively. A report by the Financial Times suggests that the Switch 2 price is an indication that Trump's tariffs will have an effect on video game prices. Japanese video game analysts. What? This is literally all of what we've read in this past article. Brian says Switch 2 is more expensive in Europe if you look at the current exchange rate to the euro. If the price was affected by tariffs, you would expect the price to be higher in the US. Very true. So we already read this. He suggests it's a buffer in case the tariffs hit. Separate report by the Financial Times last month. Again, this is last month. This is like right now. Suggested that Nintendo had already been shifting production away from China since Trump's first administration said its intent to upend global trading, noting that more than half of the Nintendo hardware imports into the US comes from Vietnam and Cambodia. However, the tariffs imposed by Trump on Wednesday, while he says will go into effect on April 9th, includes a 46% tariff on Vietnam and a 49% tariff on Cambodia. According to FT sources, hundreds of thousands of Switch 2 consoles have already been sent from Vietnam to Nintendo's U.S. facilities since the start of the year, perhaps in anticipation of such a move. You mean they're actually doing stuff in the U.S., something that Trump said he wants to have happen? Oh my gosh. MST financial analyst Dave, okay, finally someone else new, told the publication expert data combined with finished product codes confirms that Nintendo shipped finished Switch 2 for Vietnam across 5 days in January for a total of 383,000 units, with all of them going to the US. I suspect this occurred to test the distribution system and get ahead of the risk of tariffs. I expect the numbers to have ramped up significantly in February and March. I mean, I could feel stupid, but again, I feel like I wasn't really told anything. Awesome. But there you go. Literally all that was in here was summed up in like a sentence in that past article we read. So I feel like I just repeated the same thing. $80 for Mario Kart World could be the new normal, analyst warns. Tech for Gamers says here. While fans have been surprised by the recent information regarding the Switch 2. And by the way, I've seen videos of, I think it was like actual Nintendo Direct, like of the live chat, and people were telling Nintendo to drop the price. People are not happy about it. Console's price is still a hot topic. Ex-Blizzard boss slams Switch 2, too expensive, same low frame rates. Yeah, look at this. Ex-Blizzard Like, who said that though? Like, an ex-Blizzard guy says the price is too expensive and the same low frame rates. Blizzard Bar Mike Yarbar tweeted that the console was a hard pass for him. I basically play Mario and Zelda on it. Switch 2 will cost more, same low frames, $80 games, except I'll stick with PC and skip Mario and Zelda for a while. Dude, that's what I feel everyone's going to do. Just go PC and wait till it's on sale or a port happens and then your modders come in, clean it up, all that stuff. Because let's be real, PC ports kind of always suck because, oh, they pirate the games. It's like, well, who cares? While many thought that the Rockstar Games would become the first publisher to increase the current price of the games with the release of GTA 6, Nintendo has surprised everyone. Apparently, this guy says, oh gosh, from Blue Sky Social. Welcome to the new normal pricing, US folks. But instead of a slow increase over time like we've seen in groceries over the past few years, we're going to start seeing things happen all at once. Just as soon after the price of Mario Kart World was unveiled, one popular industry analyst, this guy, stated that it's going to become the new norm. According to Matt, many publishers will follow this trend, increasing the price tag of their games. And unlike in recent years, we will see it happen all at once. And prepare, I feel, to see a lot of people not buy it all at once. He further states that since the Switch 2 will be available in limited quantities at launch, the console's price won't hurt its sales. Everyone will want to acquire it. Further discussion of Switch 2, Matt states that the real test will come in 2 years when the supply becomes more readily available. Still, it remains to be seen how the price of Mario Kart World will impact the game industry. We aren't much time away from GTA 6, which is still planned to be released later this year. The price is inevitable. Booterman says gaming is cooked. There you go. There you go. Well, we are actually over the hour, folks. I think we got a good chunk of information in. Hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and make sure to ring the bell to get notified when I go online. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Let's get this sour taste of ridiculous gaming prices out of our mouth here by finding out what games were released today. Oh, it always starts off on April 4th. I need to like set game facts, like set up the time or something. April 3rd, Breath of Fire was released 32 years ago. Army Men World War 25. Oh my gosh, The Simpsons Wrestling. There you go. Major League Baseball 2K 6. Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo Tales for the DS. Funky Barn. Injustice Gods Among Us, the mobile version. Not a whole lot of games that I'm familiar with. I've heard of them, but I haven't actually played any of them. Manga says you slayed it. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, that seemed kind of a poor list. That's why we're going to jump ahead for tomorrow. What games were released tomorrow? Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles, apparently. Armored Core 3. Bottom of the 9th. Elder Scrolls Online, 11 years ago, 2014, Macintosh and PC. There you go. There's a game I've heard of. Holy crap. Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Missions. Ooh, not a good gaming lineup. In terms of like, at least games that pop out to me that I've seen or heard of before. Here, let's go to Moby Games. They're usually on a more world scale. Let's see if they can do better before we sign off here. We're on YouTube, Rumble, and X, by the way. I'd appreciate it if you guys like and subscribe and follow me all over on those Discord or on those Discords, those platforms. Oh my gosh. All right, starting again on April 3rd, Breath of Fire, like we saw, the Konami Group Corporation is established. Osaka. There you go. I mean, Ninja Gaiden 3, the Ninja Pack, I don't really think that's anything worth hooting about. I mean, it's cool that it was released, but I don't think that's like an actual like game. Man, I am not seeing anything. The Borderlands Game of the Year enhanced version was released for the PS4. Resident Evil 3, the Xbox One version, the download release. Just the download release, though. Ugh. That's disappointing. Camelot Software Planning, the company was established on April 4th, 31 years ago. Microsoft Corporation. Ooh, there you go. Big news. 50 years ago, Microsoft Corporation. Ba-boom. Hey, Doom 64. Why wasn't that listed for the Nintendo 64 version? Why wasn't that listed on Game Facts? There you go. I mean, not the best port of Doom, but it's out there. Ooh, Zone of the Enders, the PS2 version for Australia. I actually had that game. I started streaming it and then I stopped, but I need to play it. Ooh, THQ Incorporated. The company acquires development studio Outrage Entertainment, renames it Outrage Games. There you go. There's some video game company news. Afraid I'm still not seeing anything. Still seeing the juice not worth the squeeze in any of this. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Well, we had some good games in there. So, not a big list, but still good. All right, pups. With that being said, who's online? Oh, Jay's still online. Let's rate him. I don't know if he'll be signing off or anything. Alex. Whoops. Fedra's live on Rumble, so we'll rate her. Well, bam. Alrighty, folks. Should be online tomorrow. I'm doing some more gaming. Keep an eye out. Catch you guys on the flip side. God bless. See ya.